YouTubers, Electric Adventures here, weekend mode. Yeah, beautiful day yesterday, so did lots of gardening and things like that, so this is one day later than I was going to. And today it's sunny 1 minute and raining the next, like it is right now. Lovely Tasmanian weather. I'll start off with my other pickups. There's not a hell of a lot, really. I bought one modern title for the month. This is actually something that I've been hunting for. Now, there are copies of this around in Platinum or Essentials, PS3 Essentials, but I wanted an original copy because it's something I missed out and I've never played, and I've already started playing it and enjoying it, and it is Gran Turismo 5. Now, no, Gran Turismo 6 is about to come out, but you know, I've actually been, it's probably been 6 months I've been trying to find a copy of this in a non-platinum, because the collector in me just does not like buying the platinum or essential releases because they don't look right on the shelf. But at the end of the day, I'm not really collecting for the PS3. It's neither here nor there now. I mean, there's no point showing you inside. It's a really good condition copy. You know, a couple of little scuffs on the cover and everything, and the disc works fine. And I've been playing it. I haven't got very far because I've probably only had one decent session. My favourite PS3 controller's playing up and not charging properly, but I think that's the charging station, so I've been charging it another way to try and get it back alive. But I've been really... basically what started me down this track was I picked up Gran Turismo for the PSP and thought, why the hell haven't I ever played this? And I actually quite like racing games, so yeah, so that's my one modern pickup for the month. I mean, I suppose another modern pickup was I finally got myself a paid PlayStation Network subscription, and it's nothing to do with the PS4 coming out or the fact that you need a paid one to do multiplayer online, because I actually haven't played multiplayer online anyway. It was for the Vita, and pretty much the cost of the subscription is covered by the free games you get each month. And you know, because I mean, Vita games are pretty good, and I will get you know, probably buy quite a few originals because I still don't like downloaded content, but it just gives you a few ones to play. Like yesterday being the first, I downloaded the Oddworld one and was playing that last night. That's actually quite good fun. Now, other pickup for the month actually came from Cruiser. When he came around for that gaming session. Now, the first one is a Wii title. It's not Topspin 3, and actually this is just a case. He found this Topspin 3, which I'm sure, you know, a game that everybody wants, so I can put my Geometry Wars Galaxies in it. That he got me previously as well for $2. So I haven't printed a colour out yet. I scanned in his cover and went to print it, but it came out all faded. I'm not sure whether that's because some of my tone is running low or whatever, but anyway, I've just got to print a new slip cover for that, so thank you, Cruiser, for that. He also gave me this one. It's another racing game. Now, I said I haven't had time to play these other ones. I've been extremely busy at work. It's V-Rally 97 Championship Edition. As the rain comes pouring down, I don't know how audible it's going to be to you guys. That actually looks quite good, and I haven't had a PlayStation game for ages, and it's in really good condition. It has the manual and the disc. He picked these up at you know, our version of a Goodwill, and he got 2 copies, so that's why he's giving me that one. So, and he also got 2 copies of this one. So it's a game for the PS2. I haven't had a game for the PS2 for ages either. And it is Jak 2. Now, I haven't played Jak 1, although I do believe I have it. I'll have to check. My PS2 games are actually all over the place. One thing I'm thinking about at the moment is doing a big reorganisation, because my PS2 games are all over the place. Sorry, there's the inside. So it's all complete. It even has a little flyer. It's a bit hard to play them, and I mean, probably what I'll do eventually, I've been trying to get one of those network interfaces so I can put a hard drive into the PS2 FAT that I've got in here, and I'll probably put a lot of the games on the hard drive. Obviously, due to my rules, ones I have, but I have a ton of PS2 games, and I do enjoy playing some of those, just to neaten things up a little bit. Now, this last little pickup is another interesting thing. I won't hold up the front of the envelope, but my mother was doing one of her tidy-ups, as she's doing, and she found this envelope, which I obviously gave her back in the day. And it contains absolute mint issues of the magazine that I wrote. And I believe, this is something I haven't actually checked yet, it contains an issue that I don't have either a good copy of, or I don't have a copy of all. So, the very first issue was trying to do some overlay colour printing. The artwork was actually done by my wife, and you note it's got a series called Beyond Basic, which is what I wrote. I took over the magazine Computer Forums. Computer Forum was properly published and everything like that, and I wrote articles for that, and wrote games that were listings in the magazines. And the guy didn't want to do it anymore, and it was the main way of me selling my titles in Australia, so I took the magazine over myself. So the Beyond Basic series I continued in this one. Actually sat down with a bunch of my friends and said, do you want to work on the magazine with me? And they all said yes, and their interest dropped off after about the first issue. So after the first issue I pretty much did everything, except for the arts continued to be done by, that's right, it's my old address there, for those that are quick, but I did all this on a desktop publishing software on the MSX, this particular issue. You can see there, but also with manual paste layout as well. So there's a fair bit in the magazine, obviously no colour inside. So I'm just trying to find, and I did have one regular submission user who basically sent in adventure tips every time. I was just trying to find his name. Doesn't actually have his name on the article. And then obviously the main part of the magazine was selling my software. So in here we had a big software catalogue. People used to send the money in, and I used to make the tapes out and send them out to them. So and we had CPM stuff as well, and in the back, of course, all 80s magazines had to have listings, and you can see the checksum codes there. So we always started out with this listing you typed in first, saved it to tape, and that allowed you to type the listings in and know that you've entered a line correctly, which helped. So there's not all of these listings were done by me. So like this one here, this Jumpman, was probably done by my friend Jeff, the one who gave me that Spectrum Video Express in the box up there, and my Atari and the Atari 2600 stuff. Ski Jump, that was probably done by me. So anyway, there's a few listings in there. So I've just got the sticky page there, and we had some ads in the back. So that's the very first issue, but there were more. I'm not going to go through the inside of all of them because it will take too long. So this is the second issue. So we dropped the colour, but went up in resolution in printing. So my wife did an Elite inspired cover there, and we went down font size for this one. So this is still, sorry, I'm just going to look inside a bit, still using the publishing software on the MSX, which I'm stretching to remember the name of. Okay, so that's issue 0, issue 1, issue 2, and the next one is issue 2. So an article on the Express there. This has still got those titles, and I'm just trying to figure out when I switched over to using the Atari ST for the desktop publishing. And this is the memory expansion card and things like that. So and here we go, issue 3. I actually quite like that cover that my wife did. A whole lot of characters from various games. Yeah, and there we go. We've switched over to the Atari ST desktop publishing software for this one. Dropped printing on large paper and gone to A4. So, I mean, this was in the twilight years, so 1989, where I kept the interest in MSX and Spectra Video going for a while. But the quite good print quality, and it's just wonderful having copies that are in such good condition. And so no issue 4, which I believe I do have a copy of issue 4, and there we go, and there's an issue 5. So I'm still actually missing, I don't have a physical copy of issue 6 myself. Print quality is not as good as this one, so, the reproduction quality. But anyway, there's a little bit of history. So Micro Gazette, published by myself in 1989. So that puts a bit of a timeline on the thing. Now, I'd like to, it's sort of a tag and everything like that was, it's talking about the Megadrive 25th anniversary. The Megadrive and Sega in general are a very important, part of my gaming life. Now, the interesting thing about my story is that the Megadrive, I was running a science fiction and fantasy store, so comics, books, and games, and so this is well after the 8-bit era, where I worked in another store for somebody else, but this is actually running my own store. And there was a general interest in the video games, and we got in, my memory's a little bit confused here about whether we got the Megadrive first, but we didn't get it when it was released. It was a little bit after. But definitely I got the Super Nintendo in the store at the time of release, because I can remember trying to get stock of it in because it was very popular, and the minuscule margins, so you really couldn't get many quantity in stock because you're putting a lot of money into that stock and you get barely any return. So you needed high turnover, and you need to be a really big store to buy a large quantity to get a bigger margin. So it was really unfair on the small stores. And I think it was around that time when I discovered, well, it was actually, you got a lot more margin from the Sega stuff, so I got a Sega in. So here is not my original Mega Drive. I have my original SNES, so the original Mega Drive that I bought to be in the store so people could, obviously we needed to demo the games that were on the shelf. Never took it home while it was in the store. I could only play it in the store. So people could pay money and play for a time or try out a game. When we closed the store down, my brother-in-law actually bought that physical unit and several of the games, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then about 6 months later, once I'd gone through I went to a market for about 6 months, selling stuff out of the boot of my car to get, to reduce the amount of stock we had left over when we finally shut the store. The store which we shut down because there was another guy who had another store copying my store only about 100 metres away up the street. He had more money than me. My first child was born, so we're talking a bit over 18 years ago now. And I wasn't going to have enough money, and I basically said, right, that's enough, closed the store, and went off and did computer programming instead. Now, also around this era, I got a 486 as well, and I started playing PC gaming, so I never really got into the Mega Drive at that time. We had a copy of Sonic in the store, we had a copy of several other games, but I never took it home, so I never had a home gaming experience at that time. The SNES I took home, and I had the Star Wars games, which I kept, and sold all the other games, which included Secret of Mana, which I really loved, and Earthwind Jim we had on both systems, I believe, if my memory is correct, and my brother-in-law actually has the SNES copy of the Earthworm Jim, and I've sort of been circling around trying to get him to sell it to me at some stage. But so yeah, 6 months around the track I bought this one, and it had about 10 games with it, and that's when I actually had one at home. And but I was also heavily into PC gaming, so I never got into it totally heavy, but I used to love the system and used to love the shoot 'em ups. Now, one of the shoot 'em ups that we had in the store that I haven't had a copy of for a very long time until now. I have the Japanese copy. Now, I obviously had the PAL copy back in the day. Was Truxton, which of course is called Tatsujin. So now I finally have a copy of that. I used to absolutely love that game. Obviously back in the store we had Sonic the Hedgehog. So this is the thing, I've never had a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog at home until I got this one here, which came which I got later, so it wasn't even in the bundle of games. So this is why I haven't played Sonic the Hedgehog a lot. So, and it's a game that I really should get back into. Now, a game that I had in the store that I was lucky enough to get the bundle as well was Fire Shark. So probably out of all of the Mega Drive games, this is one of the games that I've played the most. It's actually got a lot of levels in it, and I've played pretty much to the end of that one. Another game that obviously pretty much all Mega Drive owners got at the time was Altered Beast, because you got it with the system. I'm not particularly fond of this game. It's all right, but I'm not that into the game. And of course, Columns. My wife used to love this game, and I played it a bit myself as well, because there's nothing wrong with a dual swap game, and obviously dual swap games are all the rage on the iOS things. And of course, the other shoot 'em up that I really loved was Thunder Force 3. Now, I've had this copy for ages. I'm not really sure whether I had this in the store and got it in that bundle, but that doesn't sound right. I think I got Thunder Force 4 in that bundle, and thus got both of those. And Thunder Force 2 I got at a later stage, but Thunder Force 3 has really nice graphics, and it's just that thumping sound that the Mega Drive puts out. It just brings back so many memories, whereas the Super NES for me was mainly that I had a couple of Star Wars games on it. And that Super NES was hidden away in a drawer, so which is why it got missed in the when our house got burgled, and I lost a whole heap of my stuff. And this one survived because it was down at my shack holiday home. Non-Australians won't know what a shack is. That's our word for a holiday home. So it survived with the two controllers and a loose version of Golden Axe, which you can't find, and I don't know what's happened to it. I haven't played that game for ages. I only just realised that when I was getting all those out. I can't find Golden Axe anywhere, so I might have to look around and getting that. And I haven't really focused, because I've been distracted on a lot of other systems, I haven't really focused on the Mega Drive for a while. But obviously Soft Otaku sent me a couple of Japanese Mega Drive titles recently, and I myself got a couple of Mega Drive titles. Now, also with that bundle, I didn't mention them, I got a whole heap of RPGs. So I got Might and Magic, I got Phantasy Star 2, because I actually have all the Phantasy Stars now, but I've picked up some of them later. And The Immortal, and Flashback. So I actually did have quite a few good games with that second bundle that I picked up. So I'm not sure whether I would like to complete the shoot 'em up collection on the Mega Drive. I don't particularly want to spread out too much more from there. And this is a thing with my collection. I'm really happy with the titles that I have. I know the stuff that I like now. Obviously, a late person into the PC Engine. We'll still continue going through getting the PC Engine shooters. I may do a bit of a trim on the PC Engine and get rid of titles that I'm not going to play. And that's probably the same, because I know I've got a lot of space behind me there and everything like that, but I also don't want it to take over completely. I have I'll talk about coming up next section. So a little quick homebrew update. I'm still working on my conversions of my original game Pixidis, which is my biggest selling title, to the Colecovision. It's actually completely running now. There's one little corruption bug, and I haven't added any sound effects yet. Or I've been mucking around with some music. Still don't consider myself very good at that yet, but I'll keep trying. I would like to have some intro music in Pixidus. I'm not sure about a background thing, but it's at least some intro music and title music. I'm working on adding some titles. Now the other title is Cavern Fighter, which is a bit of a Scramble inspired clone. I never released that game back in the day, but it was pretty much playable up to the end level. I've got that all running again on the Colecovision, and a little bit of the end boss sequence to finish off, and replace the really basic sound effects with something a bit more interesting in a title sequence. So I have been extremely busy with my work, which was after that period where I was sick for about 3 weeks as well, where work stacked up a little bit. But my work goes into a period where they have a change freeze, where you're not allowed to release changes, so my work quiets down a little bit, which will reduce my stress, and I'll have more energy for doing other stuff. And I've also been commissioned to do another Coleco title for somebody else. I'm actually really interested in that because it's obviously I'm still going to finish my own original conversions, but that's code that the 16-year-old me wrote, and the 46-year-old me obviously gets a little sick of looking at that 16-year-old person's code, and continually tweaking and rewriting it. Whereas the new project starting from scratch is actually quite interesting. So I've just been starting to get the graphics together and working out a storage mechanism, because it's a thing that will have a lot of levels in it. So I'm going to try and fit that in, and that'll definitely run on the base Coleco. That won't need the Super Game expansion. My other two games are probably going to need the Super Game expansion, because I won't sacrifice the original speed just for getting it into the memory of an original Coleco. But this new one will run on the original Coleco, and see if we can try and squeeze it into a 32K cartridge rather than making it there's a super game cartridge format that can where the ROM can be larger as well. Although that does give you the advantage of a bit of save memory as well. It just makes the game more expensive, so we'll wait and see. But anyway, quite enjoying looking at that. I've only just started looking at that this week. Now, coming up, more MSX games. I have actually, that's one area of my collection that I really do enjoy. And I have some more MSX titles on the way. Some of them will take a little while because of freight speed and things like that. So there'll be some more MSX games. I have a new MSX computer. It's actually down here. But I was lucky enough to not only get this particular MSX computer, but also a thing that attaches to it. And that probably won't arrive till next week. So I decided I'll do a video of them together, because they work really well together. So we'll leave that as a bit of a hanging thing. An AV mod for PAL 7800s has been released by the same gentleman who released the AV mod for the ColecoVision. That should also show up very soon. I'll do a detailed video on the installation of that mod and see how it goes, because 7800 is one of my favourite consoles, but the video output quality is terrible and varying. It can be fine for a little while and then it can drift and go off things. So an AV mod for the 7800 will be fantastic, and I'll try and do some side-by-side comparison on a few things, and try and go into as much detail as possible. Now on mods, now this is also based on the fact that Soft Otaku sent me some Japanese Super Nintendo games, which I assumed would work fine with, you can see the device sitting on the floor there, the device plugs into the Super Nintendo. You plug a PAL cartridge in the back, which is supposed to supply the lockout for the game, and then the game in the top, and it should play. Works fine for US titles, but does not seem to work fine for the Japanese one. It's also a little finicky because you've got so many things plugged in, they all have to make contact, and we know what Nintendo systems are like with edge connector contacts. but I finally did get one of them to come up, and it said that you can't play it on the system. So, and then I went looking, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll just buy a Japanese SNES. And I did put a bid on one, but I got outbidded because I didn't bid very much. And I did a bit of research, and it's actually, you can mod a PAL SNES, so it has both a 50-60 Hz switch and a region mode, so you can turn it so it will accept Japanese games. So obviously, unless you go and hack the top of the console, you can't plug in American games. But at the very least, I'll be able to use that extender, but I won't have to have the power cartridge in the back with this mod. Now it is you need slightly more experienced soldering to do this one, so it's a slightly more challenging one, but I'm going to give it a go. Worst case, my PAL SNES is a little glitchy as far as getting the cartridges to run anyway, so if I mess it up, I'll just get another one. It's fine. The actual consoles don't go for too much, just the insane prices people are paying for the games at the moment. So I'll do that mod, and I'll probably only do a quick video on that one and link to the more detailed videos that other people have done. But because you've got surface-mounted chips with very small pins, you've got to be extremely careful about the pins you've got to lift up. But at the end of the day, you don't need any parts other than wires and switches, so it's not a complicated mod. It doesn't need a little circuit board like these other mods have been doing. Yeah, as far as the collection goes, I'm thinking of having a little bit of a clean out. I have a few duplicates now, and I'm probably going to go through and just clear out some games that I'm never going to play for a couple of the systems. Yeah, it's just a purely storage thing. I mean, like, as you noticed, the PC Engine one, I filled that CD stacker thing there, so I'm going to have a think about whether I really want to keep some non-shoot 'em up games for the PC Engine. I may still do it. I may find another CD thing, and then I think, oh, that's fine, I'll keep going. And even the Sega Saturn titles are starting to stack up there as well. So I'm probably not going to pick up as many titles, but I do have some. I mean, it will be enough. It doesn't need to be any more than, you know, one lot of games a week, because I just don't get time to play them. So anyway, I hope I haven't rambled too long, and you've enjoyed this video. Yeah, we'll have the obviously the next YouTuber of the month in about a week's time. That'll be an interesting one, and some new MSX computer. It's always nice to have a new retro computer in the collection. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribers, and I'll catch you all later.